Welcome to another edition of the Download. Today, I am very excited to have Traci O'Brien with Arturis. She is the president and CEO, as well as a valued board member of the St. Louis Regional Chamber. Welcome, Traci, and thank you.
Thanks, Tabitha. I'm really excited to be here.
Go on, tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so what an honor to get to kind of talk about what's going on in the community right now, and all of us trying to make a very positive recovery and journey through this pandemic. So I think most of you know Arturis. We're a design collaborative of design professionals, and we serve mostly the corporate space, corporate office, and higher education and non-acute healthcare. So those are kind of the industries that we're working in. And then a little bit in the hospitality. So obviously, sadly, we've seen a huge impact in that area as well. But anyway, creative space of architects, interior designers, graphic designers, workplace strategists, which obviously we're getting interviewed a lot right now in that area about how we're gonna come back into the workplace.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think about that. Well, I can definitely say that your designs are hands down amazing.
Oh, thank you.
That's fantastic. I speak from experience.
Thank you.
So that it was a great segue into, so your feet on the ground in the community. What can you tell us about what's going on right now in the community? Any news to share?
Yeah, well, you know, I think there's so many amazing stories about human connection and how I think the community is coming together to help each other. You know, and first and foremost, I want to give a shout out to the St. Louis Metropolitan Medical Task Force that's managing through this this virus for the community at large, because I think they've done an excellent job in helping us as a region manage through this. But you know, I think there's also so many stories that are flowing from that, and one of the recent ones I think that I know that I've personally been involved in terms of the foundation board, but is the St. Louis Community College. And very quickly through this, Dr. Pittman, the chancellor, kind of gathered the forces of his organization, and they donated a bunch of the PPP or the PPEs, the personal protection for BJC, and then ventilators as well from their programs to help support that effort. And you know, the college itself is actually one of the largest supplies the workforce to the regional medical systems. And so they got 97% of their students online so they could continue. And when you also think about their student population, many of them are in the underserved or from the underserved communities that are already looking at, you know, they're already struggling like with food, with housing, with transportation. And so that was a huge feat to be able to keep 97% of the population still involved into the online courses. And so they also then started trying to stack those programs so they could get the healthcare technicians and workers out to the systems as quickly as possible. And when we talk about, you know, community, I also would like to say, well, Bank of America stepped up there and provided a $100,000 grant for patient care technicians for a whole cohort, so that they basically are sponsoring their cost to get through that program and get to the front line. So,
wow,
I think pretty.
You're full of good news.
Well, I think that is what's amazing, as sad as, you know, this situation is, and as unexpected for any of us. But, you know, I I think it's really important to look at all these positive stories, how the community is coming together. And there are so many of them out there.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I had no idea about Bank of America. That is amazing.
Yes, yes. Their community foundation and program, I think, has been amazing. And just looking at the impact it's had with the community college and with this situation in particular, I think is just really a great story. And I think there are many more of them out there, but I'm really proud to share their impact to the college.
That is amazing. Thank you for sharing that. So on a similar note of sharing, can you share since you're in so many different spaces, can you share some insights as to what we could be expecting in the next coming weeks or months?
Sure. Well, obviously the nation as a whole and is already looking at how are they coming back into into their businesses up and running. Obviously regionally we're maybe a little behind what may be going on in other areas, but I think for the right reasons. But I think, businesses, whether large or small, are really trying to figure out what does that look like. And I think it's going to mean different things for different businesses. I don't know. I know just this morning, Jack Dorsey with Square announced that, his workers can work from home if that's what they want to do. And obviously that will have a huge impact on their facilities, their space that they need, and their technology. So I think, other companies will probably be looking at a combination of that. And as we look at the workplace, I think it's already been in a huge evolution about, collaboration or some of the pushback on open office compared to having, private or heads down space. And so now given we, at least for the next year to 18 months, have a concern around social distancing and surfaces, I think we'll see more of materials like used in healthcare are going to come into the corporate workspace, and then how we attack that social distancing. But, I do want to say in terms of resources to encourage, businesses, if you're tenants, go to your building managers, because especially if they're any of the major brokers or property management companies, they have guidebooks and templates on their websites, most of them. So that's a quick, easy template for businesses to look at how to get up and running. And then, I do encourage anyone, if you want to even look at our website, we have a new perspectives that has checklists and has some guidelines that all meet CDC requirements, but to kind of help you get a start in that. But, obviously that's a big focus right now about how do we return in terms of the workplace. But, our industry as a whole, when we talk about construction, and obviously, we're a part of that, commercial real estate, I think we're all really looking at the third and fourth quarter and not sure what to expect in terms of, we definitely expect it's going to be challenging. I think I was with a peer group the other day that included contractors and bankers and engineers. And, I think in terms of project types, we still see multifamily will probably continue fairly strong, industrial. And then the one to really look for, I think because of federal funds and state funding that may get behind them, are logistics and infrastructure, which was already beginning to show, coming fairly strong, but I think we'll probably see more dollars get infused in those areas that we're all hopeful in terms of helping us come back, a little bit stronger. But I think, we're all recognizing that the third and fourth quarter is going to be extremely challenging in getting that projects going and how we move forward. But having said that, I think we've all been pretty amazed that, businesses are trying to keep the conversations going. And so many of them, while there are some projects getting canceled, many of them are just kind of repositioning them or taking a different approach in terms of trying to keep things moving.
That's absolutely wonderful insights, Tracy.
Yeah, thanks. Well, you know, and another link for that, which I'm sure we can share, would be the construction forum. It's a great resource, you know, for our industry, and especially, you know, from employees within the industry or those who may have been laid off, but as well as just what's trending, what's going on, resources, you know, that really applies to our industry as a whole.
Mm-hmm. And they have some great online like webinars, and a lot of their saved, all of their saved webinars are on their website too, so people can go back and reference them. That's a great resource.
Yes, yes.
So Tracy, what can people do now to help that you're aware of? Like what's something that the community can do to rally together?
Yeah, so, you know, again, I think this has been a great lesson in human connectivity and, you know, theories around that. And I think lessons learned around that, you know, while we can work remote, we can work alone, we ultimately need that connection. And that connection is really important for business, for mental health, for so many aspects. But we have the challenge of being safe and healthy and secure right now. So we actually have this internal challenge called the challenge of 3, and it's really around human connection. And so it's in the next 20 days, each of us at Arturis are challenged to connect to 3 peers, 3 clients, 3 industry partners, and make 3 social media posts. And all of that is really to try to keep things going and keep positive and keep, you know, connecting, to keep business flowing, but, you know, to keep our firm in a positive manner, and our industry partners that, you know, we have a road ahead of us, but, you know, the future, I think, is going to look very different, but I think it's going to be really bright. And so, you know, I encourage anyone out there that they should really take on this challenge of 3 and make those connections, because it's part of what's going to keep people engaged, keep business engaged, and you can do it. We're all learning. We can do it in a very social health, you know, social responsibly. We can make those connections with the tools that everyone's now leveraging.
The challenge of 3. I love that.
The challenge of 3.
The challenge of 3s. It's you can't go wrong. And since we're all staring at our computers most of the day, there's no reason why you can't find a way to connect.
That's right.
In some way, shape, or form.
That's right.
Well, Tracy, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate your time. I hope you and your family are doing well. And until next time, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Tabitha. Bye-bye.